In today's episode, we look at one of the traveled black heavyweight contenders of the late 1800s. How good was Hank Griffin? Hank Griffin was believed to have been born in 1870. The exact date he was born and the location are unknown. Griffin stood 6 feet 1 and weighed around 200 pounds at his peak. Griffin's career spanned from 1890 to 1905. He had 28 wins, 4 losses, and 10 draws. 23 of his wins were by knockout. He had 3 no-decision bouts along with 1 no contest. His win percentage was 61, and his knockout percentage was 50. Griffin is most associated with the heavyweight division. Griffin was a solidly built heavyweight who could absorb and dish out punishment. Like many fighters in those days, he had a tough road early on. He was adept at using his length, including a sturdy jab, and maintaining distance and defensive prowess. Griffin started his career with a 4th-round knockout victory over little-known black heavyweight contender Black Pearl Harris Martin on April 1, 1892, in Griffin's 4th fight. Griffin took on former colored world heavyweight champion Frank Childs on April 1, 1893, in Los Angeles, California. The 2 men would fight to a 20-round draw. On December 1, 1896, Griffin would meet one of the sport's best heavyweights of the era, former world heavyweight champion, the Boilermaker, James J. Jeffries. The fight would go down in Los Angeles. Griffin would give Jeffries all he could handle before being caught with a left to the body that sent him down and unable to answer the count in the 14th round. On April 18, 1901, Griffin would fight to a 20-round draw with debuting heavyweight contender Jack Monroe. This led to back-to-back fights with a frequent sparring partner of Jim Jeffries, Joe Kennedy. The 2 would fight to a 20-round draw twice, in May and July of 1901. Griffin would be back in the ring with Jim Jeffries on September 17, 1901. Jeffries was the world heavyweight champion at this point but didn't put his title on the line against Griffin as he drew the color line when it came to offering black fighters a shot at the title. Jeffries and Griffin fought under an agreement of a decision being rendered only if the bout ended in a knockout. Jeffries dominated Griffin but could not knock him out, and the fight was officially declared a no decision. On October 2, 1901, Griffin would meet another prominent black heavyweight from the time, Denver, Ed Martin, in a scheduled 20-round contest in LA. The 6 feet 3.5 Martin proved to be too much for Griffin at this time and dominated the contest, nearly stopping him in the 4th round. The beating continued into the 7th when the referee was finally forced to jump in and bring the contest to a halt, handing Martin the decisive TKO victory. Griffin would move into a 3-fight run with the former undisputed world heavyweight champion and first black world heavyweight champion, the Galveston Giant, Jack Johnson. This was a fairly green Johnson early in his career. The first fight took place on November 4, 1901. The 2 met in Bakersfield, California, and fought a fast-paced back-and-forth fight. Both men had their moments in exchanges. In the end, Griffin would win the 20-round decision over Johnson. Griffin and Johnson locked horns again on December 27, 1901, in Oakland. Both fighters were in top condition. Johnson showed some of the clever tactics that would lead him to become one of the greatest heavyweights. The 2 men exchanged heavy blows back and forth throughout the fight, though in spurts. The contest would be ruled a draw at the end of the 20 rounds. Griffin's 3rd and final meeting with Johnson took place on June 20, 1902. Griffin was the aggressor throughout the fight as Johnson chose to show his more defensive tactics. The fight's pace was slow, and the contest was declared a draw at the end of the 15 rounds. Griffin would lose via 14-round knockout in his next fight against heavyweight contender Fred Russell on September 12, 1902. This would be the last high-profile fight of Griffin's career, though he went unbeaten in his next 10 fights, before hanging up the gloves in 1905. Griffin would go on to open a boxing school in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where he trained fighters in the 2nd stage of his career. While Griffin isn't a big name in the sport these days, he was a tough fighter who had to earn his stripes with no easy layups over his career and proved successful despite not getting a shot at the world heavyweight title. Griffin faced 2 Hall of Famers. His most notable fights were against Frank Childs, Denver Ed Martin, Hall of Famer Jim Jeffries, and Hall of Famer Jack Johnson. Hank Griffin died on May 2, 1911, at 41. While some notable facts about Griffin are clouded with confusion, there is no question that he was one of the best heavyweights of his era and managed to stand out in a division with many future all-time greats.